I am. Hello. So, I am here. Obviously, you can see me, I'm here. And you would think that I'm bored and I have nothing to do, but I actually do have some schoolwork that I should be doing, but I'm not in the mood for that. No, Amanda, I'm not silent today. Hi, Janelle. I'm not up to any trouble. I'm up to good stuff. And so I am. I was reading this book. I am reading this book, and I had a thought uh, that each of us, at some point or the other in our lives, we find ourselves in situations or circumstances generally that um, causes us to, in a sense, become frustrated. And I think everybody, regardless of where we find ourselves in life, face some amount of frustration. And while I think that's a part of our process, sometimes what we never come to realize is the fact that some of the things that we stress about, that we worry about, that we cry about, that we complain about, we look for external solutions, and we look for people to answer our questions, and we look for people to define our problems, or suggest what the solutions are. Hi, Vanessa. And so I just read. I'm reading this book, and I just read a little paragraph, and I want to read this little story. I want to read that little story for you. Hi, Aliyah. And then I'll talk for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll be off, and then I'll get to the real work that I should be doing, like my 2 or 3 papers that I do this week that I haven't even started. I feel like I'm racing. But yeah, so here goes the story. It said a beggar had been sitting by the side of the road for over 30 years. One day a stranger walked by. Spare me some change. Spare me some change, mumbled the beggar, mechanically holding out his old baseball cap. I have nothing to give you, said the stranger. Then he asked, what's that you're sitting on? Nothing, replied the beggar, just an old box. I have been sitting on it for as long as I can remember. Ever looked inside? Asked the stranger. No, said the beggar. What's the point? There's nothing in there. Have you, uh, there's nothing in there. Have a look inside, insisted the stranger. The beggar managed to pry open the lid. With astonishment, disbelief, and elation, he saw that the box was filled with gold. And so that's really what I was just reading, what I read, and what I wanted to talk about for a second, because sometimes we find ourselves in positions where we begin to, because of our own situations, because of our own circumstances, because of the things that we have been told, the words that have been spoken over us, people, we become, in a sense, victims of the power of spoken words over us. And so after hearing it time and time again, and we become victims of what we hear, victims of those spoken words, it's easy for us to begin to believe those things when we keep hearing it over and over and over and over again. It's like telling a child, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid, or you're slow, you're slow, you're slow. And eventually that child will begin to believe and begin to manifest what you're channeling to them, what you put in the atmosphere to them and about them. And so when they begin to hear it over and over again and they begin to believe that, then that's what they begin to embrace first here. And when they begin to embrace it in their minds, then that's exactly what they'll begin to manifest in their actions. And so when we keep telling our kids that, then they begin to respond in that way. Then we wonder, well, where did it start from? But when we think about it, it really started from the words that we would have spoken over that child's life. But as adults, we grow up, we become so consumed with life, we become so consumed with the things that are happening around us, and sometimes life's circumstances can get us frustrated, and begin to look at external we begin to look at external sources to answer our problems. And so we want everybody around us to tell us their opinions about what we are dealing with, or what we are faced with, or what do you recommend for me to get out of what I am in, or this season or this situation that I'm dealing with. And so the story talked of the guy who was literally begging for 30 years, and he was sitting on this box for many, many years and never even thought to look in the box to see what he was sitting on. And sometimes it happens to us indirectly because we look to people to define us, to give us directions for our lives. We look to people to give us their ideas and their we allow people to live their lives vicariously through us, but we never, or it takes a long time sometimes for us to look on the inside, to do an introspection, to internalize, well, what is it that I am dealing with externally, that who knows, that maybe sometimes we already have the solutions to our problems. Yes, you can, Jermaine, the solution to our problems on the inside. And so I just wanted to come on here for a few minutes to encourage somebody that, regardless of what it looks like now, regardless of what it feels like now, regardless of what you have heard, regardless of what your current circumstance or situation is, that you would be so enlightened to begin to look on the inside, because you could be sitting on your gold. I don't know where my voice is going, but it's going, but that's fine. You can be sitting on your gold and not know it, but because we have programmed ourselves to always be looking for the solution and the answers from somebody else, we never look internally. And so I just wanted to share that and to encourage somebody that, who knows, that maybe the solutions that you're looking for, that you're expecting somebody else to speak into your ear and to magically bring you out of, that the power to change your own circumstance, the power to change your situations could very well already be inside of you, and you've never taken, no, no, I'm not doing that, Kareen. You have never taken the opportunity to sit down, away from the noise, away from what everybody else is saying, away from even what your circumstances look like currently, and figure out, well, what is it that I've already been through that I could apply to what I'm going through now? What has worked for me in past situations that I can apply to my life now in this situation or in this season that can get me through it or that can get me out of it? And so that's all I wanted to share. Come on here to share and to talk about for a few minutes, that sometimes the power to change your now, the power to change your situations, the power to change your atmosphere, or the power to change your universe that you live in, that you exercise your abilities in on a daily basis, is already inside of you. And so the next time you're faced with a situation, before you even think about calling somebody to tell them what that problem is, or to share what your difficulties are, would you just take 1 minute or two, take 5 minutes, take a day, and do some introspection. Look into yourself to see, what is it that I already have in me? What is the gold that the gold, not goal, the gold as in that valuable thing that I would have gained from a past experience? What is the gold that I already have in me that I am sitting on, that I'm not using, but has the ability and the power to bring me out from this situation, from this season, and to change my now circumstance. So that's it. I'm gonna shut up now and go back to what I should be doing or not. But I just thought it necessary to do a little talking. Um, I do lots of other things on Facebook, and so maybe somebody else needed to, or maybe somebody needed to hear this tonight. Who knows? Or maybe it's just for me, and I'm just um, blabbering on Facebook, and that's fine. But hopefully, somebody could find and strength and be encouraged by it. That the power to change your circumstance is already in you. The power to change your situation is already in you. And so stop looking for people to define you. Stop looking for people to to give you the solutions when you have not even searched internally to see what power you already have, or what experiences you've already had in the past that you could apply to your now, to your current state, and be a better person, and at least have a different perspective of what you are going through or where you are. Hi, Nicola. Good night. Where you are and what you're doing. So be encouraged. Um, you're sitting on your gold. Don't let your gold go to waste. Tap into yourself. You've got what it takes to bring you out, and um, enjoy your now season. So peace and love and good night. And I'm gonna shut up now again. I feel like I'm not gonna. I'm done. Have a good night, y'all. Blessings, love, light, and guidance.